So I've learned something new. It's only a small thing, but I love the fact that I'm still learning things within Davinci Resolve, and it's thanks to this guy.
Davinci chews with their mouth open about 18 times. I have 18 facts. Let's go over them.
That there was Casey, and he runs the Camera Conspiracies YouTube channel. I've linked him down below. He's a funny dude, so if you're into cameras and whatever else, definitely go and check him out. And Casey occasionally creates these Davinci Resolve videos where he highlights either simple things which he just simply doesn't know how to do, or things which are genuinely broken within Davinci Resolve. So some of those things which are broken, I can't help him with, but other bits I can. So let's jump into it. We'll run through some tips and tricks which hopefully help Casey out and hopefully help everyone else out as well.
All right, first one is the rapidly moving timeline. Whenever I'm trying to grab something, it's just these giant leaps for mankind. It's so hard to fine tune it.
Now I do agree with this one. It's been an issue for a while. It can be a little bit annoying. I don't really have a solution, but I do have a couple of little tips. The timeline has gotten a little bit better, I believe, over the past few updates. Now, when you drag a clip up to create a new track, it will only create one new track rather than creating a bunch of new tracks like it used to. So that is a little bit cleaner and a little bit easier. So what are my little tricks? Well, let me show you a couple of keyboard shortcuts which can help moving around the timeline. So my first one, if you give a clip a click on the timeline, then you can use the comma and full stop keys just to shift that clip forwards or backwards a single frame. It can be really handy just to help line things up. If you want to move your clip up and down a track, if you hold the Alt key, or Option if you're on a Mac, you can then use the up and down arrow keys to shift this up and down a track. If you prefer to use a mouse to do that, if you hold the Shift key and then drag up, you can move it up and down a track, but you won't be able to move it left and right. So it will actually lock its position on the timeline, but just allow you to shift up and down. It's another really useful one. And the last one I want to give you is if you highlight some footage on your timeline, like this one here, and let's say I want to swap it with this footage over here. So I want to swap the order. If I just click and drag, it will overwrite like so. But if I give it a click, hold Control and Shift, I can then drag. And what it'll actually do is insert it rather than overwrite it. So basically, it'll just shift everything out the way. So we can move this around and it won't actually overwrite anything. And it just allows you to really quickly reorder things on the timeline. That doesn't necessarily help with all of Casey's issues, but they're useful tricks to know. Hopefully they were useful. Next up, ins and outs and jumping to the source viewer.
I'm looking to just take a section of it, and then I bring it to the timeline. It jumps away from that clip, and I have to go, because I wanted multiple parts of that thing.
Now, we do have a few solutions for this. First up, if you use the F9, F10, F11, and F12 keys, you can actually do all of your inserts using keyboard shortcuts, which will keep the source viewer open. But I appreciate learning all these keyboard shortcuts is difficult, especially if you're just an occasional user or whatever. There's loads of keyboard shortcuts and it can become really difficult. So I do have some other quick tricks if you want to use a keyboard and mouse and drag and drop instead. So let's open a clip. Let's just go with this one. And if I do my I and O, my ins and outs, and I click and drag, it will just jump to the timeline view within the preview. So then I don't have to find the clip again. But if you simply hit Q on your keyboard, just the Q key, it will jump straight back to that selected clip. So then you can mark an in and out, drag, put it somewhere else on your timeline. It will jump to the timeline view, hit Q, and we're back again, in, out. And it's just a nice way of jumping back to that source viewer. Alternatively, if you close the inspector, top right-hand corner, and then still in the top right-hand corner, you'll see this icon. This is to enable your dual viewer mode. If you give that a click, you'll get two preview windows. The one on the right is your timeline. So as we scrub through the timeline, that will change. And then the one on the left is your source. So this is a thing you have selected within the media pool. So as you can see, it's already got my in and out selected. Let's just do a new clip. We can mark an in and out, drag on the timeline. The source viewer will stay there. So then we can do another in and out, drag, and off we go. And it just keeps them both open at the same time. There you go. The Q one is particularly useful if you haven't got a big screen. If you're on a laptop or whatever, you in and out, add to your timeline, hit Q, and off you go. Next up, I think we've got something about transition snapping.
Please have a thing where I can ignore those little transitions, because every time I drag a little clip, it goes to the end of the transition instead of the beginning of the clip. It could not boil my blood more.
Dunno. Don't have a solution for that one. Don't even have a workaround. Don't have any suggestions. Don't have anything. Yeah. Next.
Whenever I drag a clip into the media pool, that's how I work, and I've refused to change. It never goes to that clip. Why is that? Sometimes I have hundreds of files there, and it's like, I drag it in, and then where is it? I have to go searching for it. You know I just dragged it there to use it immediately.
Now this one, again, I don't really have a solution for. I've never really noticed, if I'm totally honest. I've never had to do this. I keep my preview icons a little bit smaller, generally speaking, which you can do by using this tiny little draggy bar up here. So you can make your preview icons nice and big or nice and small, or you can change the views just using these icons up here. But again, I have two little things which I think are worth mentioning. And the first thing I want to show you is really simple. If you grab a folder, so this is outside of Davinci Resolve, I've just got a random folder open. If I grab some footage or a photo or whatever, I can drop it directly on to my timeline. So rather than having to drop it into the media pool and then find it to add it to my timeline, you can just come and drop things directly onto the timeline and it will automatically import it into the media pool. Now, obviously that doesn't help if you wanted to do ins and outs, but it's a quick, useful trick. Now you'll notice, now that I've imported this, I still can't actually see it within my media pool, so I don't know where it is. So there is a trick for that too. If you click on Davinci Resolve, top left-hand corner, then go to Preferences, then select User at the top, Editing from the menu on the left, and then you want to scroll down past General Settings to these tick boxes here. The second one says Always highlight current clip in the media pool. Give that a tick and then Save. And now whenever you click on a piece of footage on the timeline, it will highlight it within the media pool. So if we select this new one we just imported, it'll automatically jump to it with a red box around it. So then we can come in and do any ins and outs if we want to, like so. Maybe doesn't solve the original issue, but there you go. I thought they were worth mentioning. I need coffee. Hang on.
Davinci, I know you're not known for your fine-tuned adjustments, but it's really annoying when I'm trying to fine-tune size something and it's just these giant jumps.
So this is the thing I learned. So because I watched Casey's video, I went digging, so smashing my head on the keyboard, looking for shortcuts, looking for ways to do this. And there is a way. And it's using my favorite key, the magical key, the Alt key, or Option if you're on a Mac. But obviously this is the magic key. It solves all of our issues. Love it. Alt key. Alt key. Always Alt key. Anyway, let me show you. So if I give this clip a click on the timeline, let's open up the inspector, top right-hand corner, and let's just do the zoom controls. If I just click and drag, by default, you will see it's jumping up in 10 increments, or increments of 10. So it's going from 230, 240, 250, etc. If you hold the Alt key or Option and then drag, you can do it single digits. So you get real fine control. I know. I can't believe I didn't know that, unless I did know it and totally forgot, which may be the case, but I don't think it is. I didn't know that. Useful to know. Me. And it works on position, so we can do finer controls with position and rotation and all that sort of fun stuff. Now, something else I do want to show you really quick. Let's just reset the transform. Underneath the preview window, if we click our little drop down and select the transform controls, we get those on screen. Now, to do really fine controls with this, let's make this smaller. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, which I highly recommend that you do, we can zoom in to this preview window. If you actually click that middle button in my case, that is the scroll wheel, we can then move around. So I can just click and drag to move around the preview. And then I can move this and I can make it really small, move it around and do real fine adjustments. By making the preview window sort of bigger or zooming in, you get finer control. And then you can just move around and off you go. Another great tip, if you've zoomed in and messed around and you want to just really quickly get back to the default view, just hit the Z key or Z on your keyboard and it'll just default like so. Now, I think we're sticking with transform controls.
I cannot scroll down far enough. For some reason, it ends at -8640.
Yeah, this one's been in there a while. I don't know the reason for it. Someone may be able to tell me in the comments. I think Casey addressed this in an old video. Again, I don't have a solution. I don't know the answer. I don't know why it caps at 8,000 or whatever it is. But there is a bit of a workaround. It's not the best solution ever, but it is a fix to sort your problem out in a pinch, and it does beat having to do a compound clip every time. And it's simply this. Rather than using the standard controls, which you rightly would use usually, open up the effects library, effects top left-hand corner, then come down to open effects, and then within here, right near the bottom, there is a Resolve FX transform area, and there's a transform tool within there. This is essentially the fusion-ish transform controls. If we drop that on this clip here, within the inspector effects, open effects, we have a bunch of additional controls, and the position within here is much, much greater. So this will move off the screen just by going to 1. So it doesn't really matter how big something is, I don't believe. It will move it off the screen from 0 to 1. But this actually goes all the way up to 100. So you get loads of movement with this. You can do ups and downs, zooms, rotates. You can also change the controls to use pins and canvas. It's a really useful little tool, but for this specific situation, it's probably going to be the best thing to get it in the position that you want to. So there you go. Now, something else Casey mentioned was about compound clips, so I've got one other quick tip for you there as well.
God forbid I forget to stretch the clip first, because you can't stretch a compound clip.
So I've got my little caterpillar PNG here, and if I right click, we're going to go to new compound clip. I'm going to be lazy and just hit create, and there we go. Now, as mentioned, that compound clip is limited with its length because it can't be longer than the thing within it. But to change that really quickly, if you simply right click on the compound clip, you can open it in timeline near the top, and that will jump to within this compound clip. Then you can really simply make this as long as you want. I would generally make it way longer than it needs to be. Then down at the bottom here, you have an address bar, breadcrumbs, so you can just go back to the original timeline. I'm going to double click on demo. It'll take me back. And now because the things within that compound clip are longer, I can now make the compound clip longer. So rather than having to decompose and then change it manually, it's a nice, easy way of doing that. Cool. Next up, I think we've got colors.
Right click, remove attributes, color correcting, apply. Oh, it did work. Oh, damn, I thought I had video footage of it not working.
Yeah, resetting colors. For starters, I never thought about removing attributes on the edit page like that. So bravo. Cool idea. Never thought to do that. Shame it doesn't work all the time, but there you go. How I've always reset colors is directly on the color page, and it is quick and easy. So I'm going to jump straight to the color page, and this clip has got some nodes already on there. To reset all of them, if you simply right click within the nodes in an empty space, there's an option to reset all nodes and grades, or we can use the keyboard shortcut of Control and Home, and that will just get rid of any nodes and just reset back to the default.
Where we used to color grade with adjustment layers, so you didn't have to change each clip. And so that's how I do it in Davinci.
Now, in terms of copying grades, that's pretty easy too. And again, I recommend using a mouse with a scroll wheel or a middle mouse button because it does make your life a little bit easier, but you can do it without. There are a couple of ways, so let me show you those too. So the easiest way, the way I generally tend to do it, this clip, as you can see, does have a grade. If we go to this clip here on our little clips bar, if you don't see this bar of clips down here, you simply click on clips up in the top left, and that will show you this bar. Then with this clip selected, if we right click on the clip with our grade, we then have the option to apply grade, and it will copy the grade from this one over to this one. Now, if you've got that middle mouse button, it's even easier. So let's click on this clip, the one without a grade. Then we're simply going to middle click on the one with the grade we want to copy. And it's going to copy it across straight away like so. We can also do that for multiples by selecting as many as we want on this clips bar, middle mouse, or right click and apply. And it'll just copy them straight across like so. Now the other way, which is really useful, so it's worth mentioning, if you select your clip like so, and then within the preview, right click, and you want to grab a still. It's the top option. And then open up the gallery, which is in the top left-hand corner, and you'll see all of your stills over here on the left. Now, these stills aren't actually just still images. They're captures of the grade which you've had applied on the thing you grabbed the still from. So now let's just go to a totally different clip. We'll use this one of me over here. You can see that I have the clip within the gallery. If I hover my mouse, I can actually preview what that's going to look like on our selected clip, like so. And then again, to actually apply that grade, we can right click and go to apply, or we can simply use our middle mouse button and it will copy whatever grade was on that still we took to this new clip like so. So there you go, couple of quick tips for stealing, copying grades. Using the stills is particularly useful. You can even export them so you've got them ready for other projects. There's loads of stuff that you can do with stills, so they're worth looking into. Next up.
Like, I like finding little funny GIFs. Sometimes it goes with the show and it's like, I can't use the file. Why can't you read it?
Yeah, you still can't import GIFs. I don't know why, because in Davinci Resolve 18.5 you can now create your own GIFs, but you still can't import them. Don't know why, don't have a solution, don't have a fix. I still have to upload things to websites and get MP4s back down, so don't know. I'd love to see them as much as the next person. Sorry, no answer for that one. What have we got next? I think this is the last one.
Would like to play the timeline back faster than it is. I could edit so fast if I could just speed things up with a click of the button, a little timeline speed thing.
It is indeed play speed. So there's a simple solution for this one, and it's using the J, K, and L keys on your keyboard. Let me show you. So we've got our timeline here. If we simply move our playhead wherever we want it, let's go with here. If I hit L on my keyboard, it's just going to play back in normal speed. If I hit L again, it's going to play back in 2 times speed. We can see we actually get a little 2x here. If we hit it again, we'll go to 4, we go 8, 16, 32, 64. I think that's the max. It is indeed. If we hit K, it will stop. Now you can also do that backwards. If you hit J, we'll start playing backwards and we can go backwards faster as required by simply keep continually hitting the J key. And there you go. Awesome. If you want to know more about the Alt key, which is one of my favorite keys ever, make sure you watch this video I've linked above. There's loads of great things that you can do with the Alt key or the Option key if you're on a Mac. So definitely go and check that out. But for now, thanks ever so much for watching. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time.